Good morning, Axis and Allies players. Welcome to January of 1941. Right here from the nest, I'm Viper. I'm going to take you through a couple of different things. A lot of big stuff happened last round, including Germany taking on France and wiping it off the board. This round, we are going to initiate the Slavic states. We're going to take care of that here in just a minute. Germany started off this round with 74 IPPs. Axis players, that's a lot of ammunition to throw at the board. And we used it, believe me. We leased 5 IPPs to Italy alone, purchased 3 infantry and 3 artillery, a motorized, 3 mechanized light tank, 4 medium tanks, and a 4 on the cruiser to put it in placement mode. We rolled on our tech roll for heavy armor. Germany now can put out Tiger tanks. That is 1 Tiger tank per round according to the rules, but we did unlock it, so that's coming up next round for July of 1941. We had a nice little skirmish on the board. Germany took over Yugoslavia, which is where we initiated those states. That is an overlay, we'll get right here, that you can buy from historicalboardgaming.com. It's an extra piece that you just set it over the top. It opens up the different states of Croatia and Serbia and Slovenia. So that's one thing that we will get to here in just a minute. But on to our convoys over here. The North Atlantic convoy was not successful, so England was safe. However, the Mid-Atlantic convoy, I guess English just really pissed Germany off, because now the English are starting to pay for that one too. They lost 3 IPPs in that particular convoy roll, and that was off of one German sub. We had a strategic bombing here in London, brought in some tactical bombers, medium bombers, and our fighters. But England has this radar station that's right here. So that radar station gives a +1 to any of the fighters that scramble. It also breaks that rule and unlimits how many fighters can be scrambled. Vanilla rules state that they can only use 3 fighters per scramble, no matter how many planes are being brought in for strategic bombing. So that's one thing that is a good thing to unlock right away if you can get it. Also, we have a house rule on our tactical bombers here. Are they buried? We have our tactical bomber here. That is, bombers are bombers. That's what they do. And the vanilla rules state that a tactical bomber cannot bomb a facility. Unfortunately, that's not correct, because bombers drop bombs. That's what they were used for. But you know, tactical bombers can bomb a tank, and it's moving, but can't bomb a facility. So our house rule is that a tactical bomber can be utilized for strategic bombing, and that's actually what we did. So we had the scramble bomb fighters that would hit at a 4. The medium bomber hit the factory on a 3 damage, and our tactical bombers went after the shipyard. And the importance of this is because this damaged battleship is sitting here, and if a shipyard has any type of damage to it, any ships that need to be repaired cannot be until that shipyard is completely functional. Germany hit it with everything it had and wiped it out. So England will have to completely repair that at 8 IPPs before they can even start repairing the battleship. So that was very important also. Here in the Slavic states, Yugoslavia had a Navy ship here, or I'm sorry, yeah, it was here. And then Italy had some ships here in the same zone. And because Yugoslavia was attacked, the ship is going to go after any Axis powers that were there. It knocked out Italy's ships that were on the board, but Germany took the Yugoslavia territory, so that opened that up. With that, Germany is able to put 3 SS units on the board right away. They're all Mountaineers, and it's the 7th, 13th, and 21st, but that's okay, because otherwise we'd be waiting 3 years respectively before any one of these could come out. Also, this opens up Russia's ability to put partisan units into these different state territories, and at least 1 per unit or per state that goes into that territory just because it was opened up and sectioned off. So that's something to keep in mind too. So Russia can do the same thing that France does. If they have a partisan unit over here, they can roll to begin that chaos that the Germans had to embellish and to stick up with during the war. During that time, those partisan units, remember that Germany is not going to be able to collect IPPs in different areas for that unless they are able to destroy it. Also, the partisan units can only be attacked by infantry only units, so no fighters or anything can go after them. See, we had our non-combat, our planes that we had returned to Belgium that were here in the strategic bombing because that was as far as they could get back. Our sub that we had over here in the Baltic went through the Kiel Canal and is now sitting out here outside of Bordeaux. Our second SS and medium tanks from Paris are now sitting in Munich. And artillery from Paris was railed into Warsaw. So it's sitting in our block here. Third SS was railed to East Prussia. Our first SS was railed to Donoslavsky. Our mechanized in Picardia was railed to Donoslavsky. We had an infantry that was in Paris that went to Lorraine. 2 tanks in Stettin. One of those went to East Prussia and one of them went to Slovakia. And we had 3 mechanized in Stettin that we moved to Warsaw. So those are here. Our hospital that was in Paris is now sitting here in Lorraine, and the hospital that was in Austria is now sitting in Slovakia, and it's buried also. So that happened. Our placement, we put our cruiser out here in the Baltic Sea. 3 mechanized and 2 medium tanks went to Stettin. A medium tank to Berlin. An infantry went directly into Paris. 2 infantry, an artillery, a light tank, and a motorized we put in Munich. So this is the block that's sitting now here in Munich. And an artillery and a medium tank went to West Germany. So not a lot happened that round with Germany, but that's okay because they took everything they had to go and wipe out the eastern side of Europe. And so now you can see they're starting to motorize themselves back to the other side of the board. Russia started off with 41 IPPs. They had a tech roll for advanced artillery. They needed 18. They rolled a 7, so that's 11 left on that. They bought a heavy tank because they opened that up last round. That cost them 8 IPPs and it was placed in Smolensk. 3 mechanized and a medium tank that they placed in Kursk, and 2 medium tanks that they placed in Stalingrad, an infantry that they placed down here in Kiev. Apparently he's doing a surfing act right there. That's kind of cool. And their production roll went up to was a 7, which brought them to 46, and by rules they can now declare war on any other faction. So that's something else to keep in mind. They did not declare war. There was no combat this particular round because they took everything they had and threw it at Poland last round. So they're not declaring war right now. So they're just going to sit tight. Everything is going to continue to move to the border here on the eastern side. So everything from the west is, everything is moving westward to this side of the board, keeping our line nice and pretty right there. And CCP is just going to sit tight. They only had 2 IPPs. They couldn't buy anything. Then not really advisable for them to try to attack anything right now because they have those 2 infantry and a militia and some other little things. So it wasn't really in their favor to do anything. Staying over there on that side of the board, Japan started off with 24 IPPs, and then Manchuria had theirs. What was Manchuria started?
9.
Okay. They moved their carrier up to the next stage. Last round they put the Yamato onto the board, so we have that out there. They purchased a destroyer, a mechanized, a medium tank, and an infantry. All of our base units went into Tokyo. The destroyer went over here into eastern Japan. For as far as movement, we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Our Yamato that was sitting here is now joined the fleet here in the mid-Pacific. We had the hospital ship that was up here is now sitting down here with the fleet in Saigon. And our infantry, light tank, and artillery that was in Tokyo is now sitting in Henan. Japan had a tech roll for long-range aircraft. They needed 28. They rolled an 8, so now they have 20 to work on those long-distance planes. And they took Nanking and Henan into Zhejiang River. The river that is here in this territory actually gave them a -1 on the first round of rolls. Japan took Zhejiang and they went up +2. Japan suffered with all of theirs being wounded or being dead, and KMT ended up with 3 wounded here. Manchuria purchased an infantry, an armored car, and a militia. The infantry and militia went into J-Hole, and the armored car went into West Manchuria. They did not attack anything, but they did move 2 of their Kwangtungs and J-Hole down here into Peking, building up that army once again. Okay guys, so it's kind of a short round, not as short as some of the ones were in early game, but we are about to the midway point, so we're going to keep going. We've got the Allies players coming up next with the Britain faction and America and stuff like that. It's going to be pretty simple for the rest of this round, and then we're going to get into some really complicated stuff next round when Germany and Russia decide on what they're going to do with their pact. We'll see you guys back here in just a few minutes. Hi guys, welcome back. We are still in January of 1941. Sorry about the delay. We're getting this together for you guys, so we're going to start over here on the Asian coast with the Pac Brits and Anzac, and then we're going to jump over to our Euro Brits. Anzac decided that they're going to start pushing some people up here into the islands and keeping them there for with their transport. They also purchased a fighter down here and put it in play. Up here in the Pac Brits, we had a lend-lease of another artillery that went into KMT China, and they picked up another medium bomber. The fun fact of what happened with Britain is Britain decided that because Mussolini took it upon himself to attack here just south of France with the naval battle, Britain decided to answer back, and Mussolini was not very happy about it because if we take a look down here, they took Somaliland, they hit Libya really hard, they also wiped out the entire Italian fleet except for the 2 submarines that are on convoy. They did put a fighter here on the combat air patrol, which did wipe out the 1 IPPs that is, I'll get a focus here, under here. This convoy line that the Italians have loses 1 IPP for every time that it's hit. So we had that happen here with their Britain submarines. And then Britain decided, well, Churchill decided to turn around and smack Germany with a backhand. Ouch, it hurt really bad because our factory took 11 hits over here in West Germany. That hurt a lot, and yeah, I'm a little surprised, but that bomber came in and smacked it down really nicely, so we're gonna have to fix that before we could do anything. We can't even put units in that section on that factory, which really sucks. But that's okay, because we'll come back. We always come back. So that happened. And then England also decided that on top of that, they were just kind of pissed off that day. They missed tea time, and they missed They just missed the entire day, and a bunch of those colonials and infantry weren't happening, and they also took the submarine out of the mid-Atlantic with their combat air patrol there. So yes, we got this little submarine here for Germany that's on its way there, but there's nothing there right now, so that's good for Britain for the next round when we come to July. Excuse me. France, not much going on. They missed their partisan role, their Free France partisan role, so we still don't have any chaos going on in France. That I can handle. I'm okay with that. Italy, they're crying in a corner. I hate to say it, but they got smacked down pretty hard this round. So that pretty much sums up those two. A lot happened, except for the fact that Italy's just kind of sitting up here, cramped up in a corner, you know, crying for a mommy, and Mussolini's going, what in the hell just happened? So, but on the plus side, KMT decided that they were going to get froggy, and they jumped in here and they took J-Hole from Manchuria. Not going to probably keep it because you can see everything that Manchuria has surrounding them, but they have it for now, which, you know, bumped them up to IPPs, so that's good. And then America moved up their Iowa-class ship. They put a fighter out on their carrier, which is sitting here in the Pacific. They're gearing up and making sure that they are covered for what is coming to be a two-front war for America. They also put a bomber out. And just so you guys know, here's our bomber. Nice big plane right there. And just so you guys know, as far as our tech rolls happen, Euro-Brits are missing 3 IPPs for that advanced submarine warfare. America is sitting at 14 left to get their heavy bombers. That is a potential victory point for the Allies players. Also, in turn of that, America rolled for their production increase, and that put them at 46 IPPs, which means they can now attack any Axis player or any player that's at war against the major powers, as long as they're within 2 U.S. sea zones off the U.S. coast, without repercussion. That means they don't have to go to war. But if there is a submarine or destroyer or whatever that decides it's going to float up on the coast over outside of Washington or Norfolk or Savannah, whatever, they can attack it, and that's okay. 56 IPPs, 10 IPPs from now, so that's potentially the next roll. The U.S. can declare war on any major power, so that could happen in this next turn order. So that's something to really keep in mind, Axis players, that America is on its way in. If they go to war, their wartime bonus jumps them 20 IPPs. So that's, oh, Destroyer of Worlds. Hello. Okay, so that's something else that you want to keep it, sorry about that, keep in mind too. So if America rolls at 56 and they haven't been attacked, which may or may not happen, we haven't decided yet, that they can declare war on Japan, Germany, and Italy, and possibly Russia as well, depending on if Germany has gone to war with Russia too. So while we have our nice neat line over here in the common term and the Axis powers, and we have our nice neat lines going down the sides of the board, a lot of complicated stuff going on. We'll get into that in the next coming rounds. We'll see you guys on the next time. If you like what we got going on, hit that like button below. Shoot us a comment. We'll be more than happy to answer back. Oh, a little side note. Somebody left a comment. We do appreciate that. What are all the pink spots? Just a refresher. The pink spots that are all over the board here, guys, that's militia. They cannot move. They're stuck where they're at unless they get put in a hospital. There's a lot of them over here in Asia that are sitting here. So that's something. And just a little refresher, orange is our mountaineers, blue is our Marines. Any white pieces that you see sitting on the board, like up here in Norway, those are airborne. So if you have any other questions like that, please feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to do that. Oh, the commandos, yeah. We have our commando that we put out here in Britain. Just a quick thing that they can be placed, just kind of like colonials. It's a very specific unit to Britain. That is one that we are going to keep an eye on, especially as Germany, because that's something that we're looking at landing here in Norway with those transports sitting right there. That's just a jump across the pond there. So we'll get into more of those types of things in the next couple of rounds. But again, if you guys have more questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to get those to you. So, like it, live it, love it. We'll see you in July of 1941.